What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to this edition of TSR Live, your morning cup of red pill truth, wisdom, and awareness. It is Friday, November 19th, 2018. And of course, I am live from Reno, Nevada. Rollo Tomasi is going to join me in about 15-20 minutes. He's actually live. He just got done doing a radio hit with Pat Campbell. Pat Campbell does terrestrial radio. He's based out of Oklahoma City, and Rollo does a lot of work with Pat Campbell. You guys should definitely check him out. I'll definitely put the I need to put the link to his terrestrial radio show in the link. So you guys can check that out. So as you guys all know, shout out to Winston Wolf. I'm in Reno, Nevada. It is every bit of 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm definitely an early bird to be sure, but I'm certainly fighting the jet lag. You guys can tell by the bags under my eyes. I got in yesterday around 12:30 Eastern time. I'm sorry, 12:30 Pacific time. And, went ahead and, got a place, little Airbnb action here. True Israelite Daniel, good to see you in here. So this is going to be sort of a free for all here for the first 15-20 minutes. If you have any questions, comments, show ideas, personal stories you'd like to share, put those questions or comments in the chat. True Israelite Daniel is in the UK. It's 3:00 p.m. over there. Speaking of the UK, I've actually been in touch with a limitable man who is also affectionately known as Tell Your Son This on Twitter. He changed his Twitter handle to Tell Your Son This. I don't know what happened to his illimitable man. Twitter account. Yes, I know. Listen, my camera's going to go in and out because the internet connection here sucks. Just bear with me, guys. We'll get through this. It's going to be like this for the next couple days. We'll see what happens. The Wi-Fi connection here at this hotel sucks balls, man. Believe you me, it sucks balls. But hey, you know what we do? We got to give the people what they want, and so we're going to do it from here. So we're going to wait on Rollo Tomasi, but in the meantime, like I said, I will take questions. Questions, comments, show ideas, personal stories you'd like to share. Anything, anybody. Obviously, not going to be able to take calls on air because, of course, I don't have my studio equipment here. I'm a little over 2,300 miles away from home, but I'm out here in Reno taking care of some business. Got to tie up some loose ends on some stuff, and we'll see what happens. Everything looks like it's going to go all right, and then of course I've got some old friends to see out here. Winston Wolf says, pretty understated title if Rollo is making an appearance. Yeah, right? Yeah, Rollo actually lives in Reno. He lives just outside of Reno. And he hit me late last night. Late last night in my body clock. He sent me a text message. He's like, yo, we got to do a show together. And I said, yo, dude, I'm jet lagged like a motherfucker, but we're still going to do this. That's all there is to it, brother. Red Jedi in the house says, Sharpe, what's up with chicks who always play the victim? Yeah. Women are always going to play the victim no matter what. This is part of the feminine imperative. No matter what the situation is, women are always going to play the victim. They also do what's called blame shifting. And the reason for this is that we've allowed it. We have allowed women to play the victim in any and all situations. It doesn't matter what the situation is, irregardless of the bad decisions she makes, the bad behavior she engages in. We give women the ability to become the victim. So, for example, if she gets pregnant again, right? Woman will say, well, men ain't shit and he should have used a condom. Okay, fair enough. If you don't want to knock a chick up, wrap your dick. But there's another side to that equation. If you don't want to get pregnant, if you don't want to have babies, you make the dude wear a condom. When he sticks his dick in you raw, it takes two to tango. Or if a woman gets fired from a job for poor performance or inadequate performance, or she's late all the time, well, it's not her fault. She lives in the city. It's not her fault she's late. The company should change its policy. Anytime there's a confrontation between a man and a woman in the street, and to be clear, there should never be confrontations between men and women in the streets. Of course, women feel emboldened because they know that there's really no recourse for men. We are at their mercy. And if a woman confronts you in public, the best thing to do, literally, don't stand there and take it. Don't stand there and say, all right, no, just walk away. Because no matter what you do or don't do, you're going to be looked at as the bad guy, and she's going to be looked at as the victim. So chicks will always play the victim. Chicks play the victim because we allow them to. We allow them to play the victim. And listen, to their credit, I mean, listen, man, they're going to do what we allow them to do. This is basic math. We can, and I'm going to try to change my camera angle here. There we go. Trying to get the shaking to stop. There we go. There we are. Excellent. Well, the shaking hopefully will stop a little bit. But just walk away. Women are always going to play the victim. True Israelite Daniel wants to know what my views are on Cynthia G. You know, that's a good question, Daniel. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other on Cynthia G. Because I've never listened to her. I know O'Shea has her a lot on the show, and I know that anytime anyone mentions Cynthia G, well, Donovan should debate Cynthia G, or if Cynthia G makes an appearance in the chat, like all the guys are like, oh, it's Cynthia G, get ready for that work. And I mean, to me, she's a woman. There's nothing to be afraid of. Just because she's louder than you, just because she won't stop talking, doesn't mean that she's formidable. People have suggested a debate between me and Cynthia G. And listen, O'Shea is not here for it. Listen, man, if she wants to debate, I mean, I'll debate anytime. I'll debate anyone, anytime, anywhere. I just don't really see the point. I'm not going to debate with a woman. I'm not going to debate with a woman, period, because women are not rational. They're not logical. They get in their emotions very, very easy. And, you know, they start, anytime you're in a debate with someone and they'll say a few things to sort of signal that you've won the debate without actually letting you know. They'll say, okay, we'll agree to disagree. When someone says we'll agree to disagree, they've run out of ammo. They have no other rebuttals for your argument. All right, well, let's agree to disagree. They've run out of ammo. Or they'll try to change the topic. So the other day, I was on with O'Shea and LAR Movement, and we were talking about, hey, who cheats more, men or women? And so we start debating it, and someone in the chat says, well, a woman says, well, first thing we need to do is define cheating. Anytime someone suggests, well, we need to define the debate, what the debate is about, you've lost, because you're trying to make the debate about the definition of what we're debating. Cheating is cheating. Like, you don't need cheating explained to you. If cheating is sexual contact. If you give him a blowjob, that's cheating. If he fucks you, it's cheating. If he fucks you in the ass, that's cheating. If you give him a hand job, it doesn't matter. If any part of your body comes in contact with his dick, that's cheating. But again, she already knows that. You don't need me to tell you that. So yeah, so Cynthia G, I think that, I mean, I've never even heard her interviews. I don't subscribe to her channel. I know that she blames men all the time. Okay, so what's so special about her? She blames men all the time. A lot of women blame men. A lot of black women blame men. So I don't think there's really any point. I think the only way I would debate, a black woman is on a formal debate forum. There's a moderator. She gets to say her piece. I get to say my piece. We get a 2-minute time limit. You can't interrupt the other person. You can't talk while the other person's talking. And that's going to be that. I think that's the only way. That's the only way you can have a fruitful debate. Because a lot of times when people debate, they're talking over one another. What gets lost in translation is the fact that people get emotional, and people, again, they start to call each other names, and it gets to a point where the debate stops being about the debate. That's just all there is to it. So, well, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, the only way I'll debate a woman or Cynthia G is if we have a moderator who knows exactly how to moderate. O'Shea could do it if he wanted to, but O'Shea likes to be the ringmaster. He likes to throw fuel onto the fire. Listen, man, it gets views. When people get into these on-air talks, and listen, man, that's what pays the bills. So I'm not gonna. I don't know. My views on Cynthia G is that she's a typical black woman who blames men for everything, and she just happens to have more fans than the average black woman. I guess there's nothing special about her. Winston Wolfe says blame shifting is a close cousin of reverse permission. These things almost always have a part in trash behavior. Dude, 100% correct, man. Very, very good comment. Very good comment. Good comment there, man. Winston's a smart guy. Winston is a very thoughtful guy. Long time listener of mine. You guys are listening to TSR Live with Donovan Sharpe. I am live from Reno, Nevada. I'm out here in the 775 till I die. I know the lighting is bad. I'm actually using the webcam that I use at my studio here in Reno because, of course, I'm on a $200 laptop, and the camera on the $200 laptop is shit. So yeah. I mean, bear with me, guys. It's I fly back to Philly on Tuesday morning. So Wednesday I'll be back in the studio doing TSR Live with Donovan Sharpe. Of course, I'll be on with the Red Man Group tomorrow morning at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. I'm gonna know how Rollo feels, man, because Rollo just he lives just outside of Reno, so I'll be doing the Red Man Group in the same time zone as him. CJ Mutter asks, okay, what's the best way to get back to using rubbers after a long-term relationship? May cause issues from losing stiffness to not blowing your load. That's a very good question, CJ. In long-term relationship, when you're in a long-term relationship with a woman, at some point you're going to stop using condoms because unprotected sex just feels better. Dude, listen, man, raw dog till I die, but you want to be very, very careful. At some point you're going to stop using rubbers. So if you're dating a girl for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, you guys are going to stop using rubber. She gets on birth control, right? Or, your pullout. And a lot of guys like to say, well, my pullout game is on point. Doesn't matter. You can still knock a chick up if you pull out. And the reason why is because while you are fucking her, pre-cum is coming out of your dick. When you have a hard on, it's interesting. A lot of guys don't realize this. When you're out with a girl and she's looking good, you guys are escalating, you guys are having a good time, both of you know you're going to fuck that night. Right? Like you're making out, you're grabbing her tits, you fingered her in your car or whatever. She invites you in for a cup of coffee. I don't even know if we even do that anymore. I guess I'm dating myself. But she invites you in, you're going to fuck. As soon as you sit down on the couch, you stick your tongue down her throat, grab her tits. When you pull your dick out, there's going to be some pre-cum there because you've been aroused for like an hour. Right? Guess what? You stick your cock in her, pre-cum is cum, guys. There is still sperm in pre-cum. And even if you last a long time, you're still getting the pre-cum in her. So 10 seconds before you know you're gonna bust a nut, you pull out, you jerk off all over her face, or you make her swallow, whatever the case may be. She still has her sperm floating around in you, right? Then a month and a half later, she's pissing a plus sign. You're like, what the fuck? Like, my pullout game is tight. I believe you. But pre-cum gets women pregnant all the time. So if you don't want to get her pregnant, use a condom. That said, CJ asked the question, listen, how do you go back to using condoms after a long-term relationship? And when you use a condom, it just doesn't feel as good, right? So you're going to start having issues with, erections and stiffness. My only advice would be to, start using Viagra, start using Cialis, or you can stop masturbating. If you listen, if you don't masturbate, it doesn't matter whether you use a condom or not. You're gonna be as hard as a rock. If you don't masturbate, if you don't masturbate for 3 days, you take your girl out on a date, you guys want to fuck, right? You throw on a condom, dude, you're going to beat the brakes off her. You could have 5 rubbers on. Doesn't matter. You're gonna be hard as a fucking rock, straight up. So the best way to get back to using condoms is to A, use condoms. B, understand that you can get her pregnant with pre-cum. Doesn't matter how tight your pullout game is. C, start using Cialis, Viagra. There's no shame in that. A compound that I like to use is L-citrulline. I get citrulline malate in powder form. You take 3 grams of that, maybe 30 minutes before sex. Swing. Sometimes I use it in my pre-workout. What L-citrulline is, and a lot of people like to use arginine or whatever. I don't use that. That stuff tastes bad and doesn't really work. But L-citrulline, citrulline malate, it's a vasodilator. Bodybuilders use it. Guys who lift weights use it. It stimulates blood flow all around. And so it stimulates blood flow also to the penis. So L-citrulline, use condoms, don't rely on your pullout game, and don't jerk off. Those are my tips to getting back to using condoms after being in a long-term relationship. Very, very good question there, CJ. That is a valid concern. True Israelite Daniel says she, Cynthia G, gets on to black men about dating outside their race, but never accepts that black women do the same thing. Yeah, again, there's nothing. Of course she does, right? Cynthia G, again, I mean, based on what I know about her from short conversations, she's the typical black woman. I don't really think there's anything special. We had a caller in on the brother pill a while back, who at the beginning of the call, this was right after I made the comment that we as black men, we're black women's only option. I said this many, many times before. We get this caller, and she says, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but I live up here in Seattle, and we got swirlers all around. We got black girls dating white guys all around. I said, all right, cool, man. Listen, if you guys can date white guys, listen, I ain't got a problem with that. I don't mind that. Just understand that the exception never makes the rule. So, we go back and forth on that. And then she turns around and says, why are you sleeping with the enemy's daughter? Right? So we all stop. I said, wait a minute. So it's okay for black women to swirl, right? Like, it's okay for black women to date white guys, and it's okay. You can date whoever the hell we want. But when we do it, when black men date white women, you're sleeping with the enemy's daughter. So you're not sleeping with the enemy's son, or you're not sleeping with the enemy when you're sleeping with white guys? Of course you're not. It's one giant contradiction. The reason why black women don't like us dating white girls is because that's one less black man on the market for them. That's what it really comes down to. I don't think there's anything complicated. There's nothing psychological or physiological. A lot of guys like this. You're trying to get the white man's acceptance. No, I'm not. I'm trying to get my dick wet. I'm trying to be in a relationship with a feminine woman who sucks dick and likes to cook and clean. That's got nothing to do with being accepted by anybody. Joby One Coyote says, my woman is trying to run the show. As cute as it is, what's the best way to put her in place and make her show me respect? Joby One Coyote, give me an example. Give me the situational example. You have to understand this. If your girlfriend tries to run the show, if she is actively trying to run the show, listen, at this point, this means you don't have enough backbone. You're not showing enough authority. The reason why she's trying to run the show is because, listen, no shade on you. I'm just letting you know. The reason why your woman is trying to run the show is because subconsciously she thinks that there is a lack, there's a lack of authority in the relationship. And women are fixers. They're not problem solvers. They are attempted fixers. So if she's trying to run the show, that might be indicative of the fact that you aren't running the show as tightly as you can. So the way to check her or put her in her place is to become a stronger leader. Take less bullshit. You got to pass all of her shit tests, right? And I know that's a generalized answer, but if you can put in the chat, give me sort of a, give me an example. I can give you a better answer than that. Oh, Joby One says, I'm just telling her that I run the show and will not give her attention. She can't respect my authority. All right. Right. And again, you don't really have to tell her, look, I'm running the show and I'm not going to give you attention if you can't respect my authority. No, just do it. Right. If she tries to run the show, don't let her. Well, we're going to XYZ tonight. Yeah, that's what you think. Well, if it's what I say, yeah, listen, whatever. We're going to ABC. That's it. Just keep it cool. Don't get upset. And if she continues to try to run the show, then you withdraw your attention from her. Women are smart. Women are very smart. They'll pick up on that stuff very quickly. Charles Caballero says, Donovan, it was a pleasure meeting you at the 21 convention. Charles Caballero is a very well-spoken dude, man. He and I spoke on several occasions at the 21 convention. Charles, of course, during the Q&A section of my individual speech, he asked me a very good question. Listen, do I see the NFL and other professional sports leagues making any progress in terms of getting away from feminism? And it was a very good question. It was a very long-winded answer by me, but no, actually, it was on the Q&A. It was on the Q&A. It was on the Q&A section. All right, so I got a text from Rollo. Let's see. All right, give me 1 second. He just got off. There we go. But yeah, Charles is a well-spoken guy. Actually, it's interesting. Charles is very charismatic. Charles has a natural. He's got a natural game about him, man. Good handshake, very, very good handshake as well. So it was definitely a pleasure meeting Charles. Charles, listen, you're a $25 patron. I still owe you a 30-minute consultation. You got to get that in before the end of the month. So make sure you hit me on Patreon. We'll get that taken care of. Winston Wolf says, JWC, that's Joby One. Coyote says, I've tried going weeks without jerking off, and I've noticed that after a week or so, boners do not come where not called for. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people think, well, if I stop jerking off, I'm just going to pop a random boner. No. It doesn't mean that listen, if you don't jerk off, it's not like you're a 13-year-old where you're raging with hormones and, you're having wet dreams, you're getting boners all over the place. No. What it means is that your dick responds much more strongly to maybe sometimes verbal, to sexual stimuli. So if you see a hot girl, you're going to get, or if you see a girl, right, you're going to get hard. I actually addressed this in one of my Patreon videos called, Ways Your Life Will Change When You Stop Masturbating. When you stop masturbating, you get turned on by real women. When you jerk off, when you're addicted to porn, you only get turned on by 9s and 10s. And a lot of times you're not even turned on by real 9s and 10s out on the street, because you're training your dick to only respond to watching these pretty girls get fucked by these oversized cocks bent over on somebody's couch. So when you see an actual 9 or 10 in the street, your dick might respond, it might not. but you're training your brain. You're training your brain to, and I got to send Rollo the link here. There we go. You're training your brain to do something that it's not really designed to do. So, gotta be careful. You gotta be careful about that. So, no, if you don't, if you stop masturbating, you're not gonna have involuntary boners. It just means, all it means is that your dick is going to respond the way it should respond to real women. That's just how it goes. So, very, very good question. Let me log into Twitter here. I'm gonna send Rollo the link here. Give me 2 shakes. Donovan's den. All right, I'm gonna send it. I'm sending it now. All right, I'm gonna answer a few more questions here before I bring Rollo on. Masculine, good to see you in here. Ultra Gamer Turbo Alpha says, I love the Brother Pill podcast. I think I'm still banned on O'Shea's blog channel, though. Female Mods, how's Reno? Yeah, Reno's good. It's still early. It's 7:30 in the morning out here. I'm still definitely still I'm trying to fight off this jet lag. I saw a comment just now. Yeah. Jervis Horton says citrulline is in watermelon. Yeah, it is, but not enough to make that much of a difference. Winston Wolf says, all right, 3 years ago, my ex-LTR asked, what do we have in common? I fumbled the shit test like hell. What's the correct answer? I guess it sort of depends on the context, but if your girl asks you, hey, what is it that we have in common? Tell her nothing. Now, when you tell her nothing, she's going to disagree because she wants to know, right? She's like, well, no, we both like X, we both like Y, we both like Z, right? Another way to handle that shit is, what do we have in common? What does it matter? I like you, you like me. There's Rollo. All right, Rollo. Look in your Twitter DMs. I'm getting ready to send you the link right now. Nope, not Anthony Johnson. Where the fuck is he? There he is. Rollo Tomasi. Come on. I'm on the slow ass laptop here, Rollo. Bear with me. Laptop. There we are. All right, Rollo. Check your Oh, hold on. Send it. Damn it. Excellent. All right, Rollo. Check your DMs. It should be in there in Twitter. Hispanic Chris wants to know, yo, did you change your live cast times? No. I'm still going to do 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific weekday mornings. I haven't been on at the normal time lately because, again, I've been doing a lot of traveling. Went down to the 21 convention this past weekend. Preceding that weekend, I did 1 or 2 shows that week because I was preparing for the 20. Went back to Philly, and then, of course, now I'm back here in Reno, Nevada, taking care of some business. And there he is, Rollo. Do you got
what's happening? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, brother.
Good. Yeah, hey, welcome to Reno.
Yeah, man.
Welcome back to Reno, I should say.
Yeah, right. Been a while, man. It's been a little over a year since I've been here.
It's a little colder than Florida, huh?
Yeah, dude. it's like, I don't know, what is it, like 40 degrees outside or something like that. But
I
when
had to get up at like 4:45 this morning so I could go do Pat Campbell's show because he's got his thing going. He's in Central Time. And I got up this morning. I was walking around having some coffee. I'm like, ooh, man, it is 37 degrees outside.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
It is. Listen, it's 37. Well, I don't know. It's probably in the 40s now, but we're in that time of year in Reno where it'll be really cold in the morning, but then in the afternoon it warms up.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good to have you in here. It's interesting. I didn't realize that we would be landing in Reno on the same day. We landed at the Reno Tahoe Airport 4 hours apart. I got here at noon and you got here at 4.
Yeah. That's funny. I was just coming in for my descent when you hit me up, and they were like, because I usually get the in-flight internet, right? It's like $8 for internet on Southwest, and so like you hit me up, and I'm like, oh shit, he's already here before I am. Because people don't know this. I own a house in Florida as well. And it's in this place called Harmony, but just think of like Kissimmee, and it's a little bit east of Kissimmee in Florida. And so I bought it back in May, and this was the first time I had a chance to actually like go out there and fix some things and do some things with my house, because my mother-in-law is renting it from us, which basically means she's just like living there. Of course. But so I was out there checking that out. I had to kind of hold over from the convention, and I picked up a new Toyota Tundra. Well, not new, but a 2002 Toyota Tundra, and it's got a lot of mileage on it. But I needed a beater truck so I could do things for the house. So I had to go take care of that. And so like in the space of like a day and a half, I had to just like run around like ragged to get all this stuff done, and I was already tired from the convention. So, and then I had to do Pat this morning. Pat hits me up like as soon as you hit me up when I was flying in. And then when I get on the ground, Pat texts me, says, "Can you talk?" And I'm like, I can in about 2 hours or an hour when I get back home. And so then I'm like, okay, great. So we had to talk about the show, and we just did a pretty good show, I think, on his terrestrial radio show just now too. So it's like, oh God. And then I'm gonna talk to you because I know you're in town, and so you're in my neck of the woods. So I figured I'd come on, and I figured maybe I don't know what your topic is today, but I figured maybe you want to talk about the convention. I don't know if that was something you want to do.
Oh, that's exactly it. I wanted to talk about the convention a little bit. And without giving away your speech, because I think, didn't you give like a State of the Manosphere speech when you were out there?
Yeah, I did. I gave a State of the Manosphere speech, but I also did kind of what people know what this is. I think it's a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so just sort of going forward, people want to know like where we're going and where we've been. And I think I'm pretty good at like seeing patterns, right? People think I have some sort of gift for like telling the future, but it's like, it's not so much telling the future as it is like having seen all this stuff before and kind of figuring out where things are going. So that was really what I talked about, particularly when it comes to threats, because there's a lot of external threats right now. And so a good portion of my speech was about kind of like what's going on with being deplatformed, like how Roosh got, people thought, well, Rollo's not going to talk about Roosh. He isn't, that's never going to happen. No, he's all in it for the money. I'm like, no, I'll be happy to. It's just, I want to keep my mouth shut until things like sort of till all the cards are on a table. Right.
So we know more.
And we talked about that, not at the last one, but I think it was episode 33 of Redman Group. We talked about that quite a bit. And I'm concerned about that. And that my biggest concern right now is making sure that my books can get into the hands of the men that need them, because I think you were probably there when I asked pretty much the whole 200 attendee audience. I said, how many people have had their lives changed or saved by something that I've said or the books I've written? And every damn hand came up, and it was just like this big ovation. And I was like, yep. Wow. Okay. It may seem like I'm fishing for that, but the thing is like, those are the guys that I want to be able to make sure that I can reach with the books, because every last dude was coming up to me saying, dude, you saved my life. And at one point I haven't told this story live just yet, but I had these two this couple come up to me, and the guy was 70 years old, and he introduces his wife, who's got this kind of like one of her, those service dogs is with her. And I'm like, I thought these people were just like sort of tourists staying in the hotel. Right. And the guy goes, no, we came out here to see you. They caught me in like the valet, like while I was waiting for my car. And they're like, we came here to see you. And I'm like, oh, well, great. I thought maybe, okay, well, the guy probably, read my books. Well, he says, no, he's like, we wanted to thank, and the lady says this, she says, the wife, she says, I want to thank you for giving us our son back. Right. And I was like, damn, man, I was just like, stab it in and twist the knife, and he's like, thank you for giving us our son back, because he was suicidal and he was going to marry this. They mentioned this story about how he was going to marry this woman that they didn't like, and that was completely bad for them. And, single mother, I think she was BPD or whatever. And then his dad, who was like, a reader of mine, gave him the book, and it completely turned him around.
Right.
And he like was completely like, I know how I was when I was with my BPD. So I'm just sort of imagining this guy getting the book, reading it, and then like completely doing a 180. And I don't know. It's interesting because I always think of like guys in the manosphere as like being one kind of demographic, right? They're just like, maybe they're younger guys, maybe they're in 20s. Some of them are, maybe are in their middle ages and stuff, but I don't see them as being like older, like fathers and mothers and stuff like that. But that was it seems like every time I do one of these conventions, I get one of these stories. Like last convention in 2017, I had a guy tell me that he had plans to kill himself. And that the
guy with the date, he had like a date.
Yeah, he had a date set, and then he decided not to because he read my book, and then he flew out to the convention just specifically to see me and shake my hand to thank me for saving his life, basically. And that's heavy for me, because it's like, when I'm riding in here and I'm just like, doing my own thing, I'm not thinking, I'm gonna save people's lives.
I'm gonna save lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about this is something that I was. This is something that I really, really wanted to talk about in terms of the state of the manosphere, specifically pertaining to the guys like Roosh. He's put Return of Kings on hiatus. His books have been banned from Amazon. The Red Pill subreddit being quarantined. Mm-hmm. How do you think? And again, listen, nobody here is clairvoyant. We can only prognosticate as far as, as what is happening now. But what do you think this means for the manosphere in terms of things we have to do moving forward? Do you think we get past this? Do you think that Roosh has taken all of the bullets for everyone so that, maybe we get a little bit more leeway?
I wish.
I wish that what does it really mean?
Well, I think the first shots that were fired were with Alex Jones. And again, I don't really care about Alex Jones, but I do care about how the collusion between like PayPal, Apple, iTunes, YouTube, Google, basically just want to erase him. People always say, well, you have a digital footprint that's going to be, the internet is forever. Not if the right companies get together and say, no, we're going to get rid of this guy. We don't want him to have any kind of platform to talk about. And it's not just one, it's like half a dozen. And so then of course Roosh came out, and I was saying this too with the guys at the convention. I said, Roosh made his own bed, unfortunately. They didn't ban Roosh's books, they banned Roosh. They don't like, there was some, probably some purple-haired feminists at Amazon decided, I'm going to get rid of Roosh. Hit the keyboard and just delete him, delete his books. Because remember, it wasn't just Amazon, it was also Barnes and Noble, and I think there might have been one. So basically all of his sales outlets for all of his books, not just the new one, all of his books, like books that have been for sale for like 12 years in some cases. And we can go, oh man, that's pretty messed up, but I think you need to look at the larger implications of this, because now they're kind of flexing their muscles.
Yes.
Another thing people don't understand is, like, for most guys who are self-publishers like myself, we go through other companies. Like there's Lulu, and then there was Create Space, which was the company that I went through to produce my first book. Now, Create Space was great because it was sort of this third-party, self-publishing place that would publish your books onto Amazon after you had written them, right? So it would take care of the print, and it would take care of the digital, and then they would send it to, it was kind of like affiliate, I think, of Kindle at that time.
Okay.
And just back in August, Amazon bought out CreateSpace.
Oh,
and
boy.
So what I think has happened, and if you are a self-publisher and you are in the manosphere, this is something you need to be aware of as well. If you went through CreateSpace, they are now owned wholly by Amazon and Kindle, which is Amazon Kindle. And so you are no longer going through their vetting process or their quality control process of CreateSpace. You are going through Amazon and Kindle directly. And I would say that the people who are doing that vetting and the people who are doing, checking things out now like they used to, those are all Kindle people now. They are not CreateSpace people anymore. So I would venture to guess that the people who are doing that are purple hair feminists who really, who write for Jezebel. Because we later saw on Huffington Post, there was a whole article on Roosh and how his books had been banned and how he had just closed Return of Kings. And how PayPal, one of the reasons he got off of Return of Kings is because PayPal wouldn't pay him anymore. So how does he get paid for his ad revenue anymore? Through, he's got to find some other way to do it, right, which is next to impossible. So why is he going to spend all this time on something he can't really get paid for, or he's going to have to run down? And so I kind of understand why he did that, but it was almost like this complete surrender. And maybe he's going to do something else. Maybe he's going to surprise me, but I'm honestly concerned about Roosh. Yeah. We've had our differences. I've locked horns with him. I've called him to the carpet on a few occasions, and he blocks me on Twitter. But honestly, I do feel for the guy because I know his sister just passed away back in July. Yeah. And he's gone from having what do you have, 9 books for sale to having zero books for sale. So there's that, just basically killed his revenue, because I know he does this for a living, and basically he can no longer live stream, I think, on YouTube. So that's gone now. He can do recordings, but he can't live stream. So he's banned from that. PayPal won't pay him. And he's closed the doors to Return of Kings. So to me, and he's on vacation right now in the Mediterranean somewhere, I think. And so to me, that is kind of like a guy getting zeroed out. And so I'm kind of worried and a little bit concerned about him. And I don't know if that, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I mean, he is Roosh. He thinks about himself, and he's got a lot of more, he's all about Roosh. Roosh is all about Roosh. Okay, fine. But I'm kind of worried about him a little bit.
Yeah. He's an interesting guy. He's very mercurial. I think, and again, he's also very resourceful. Return of Kings, I don't think he shut that down. I think he characterized it as a hiatus. And when somebody characterizes something as a hiatus, that would at least indirectly apply that he is going to be back. But he did say, I don't know when I am coming back. So listen, nobody knows what Roosh is going to do or what he's going to do. But I do know this. Just like you said earlier, the other side is now flexing its muscles. And the deplatformization, I don't know if that's a word, that's a real issue. Fortunately for us, we're a part of the 21 convention. They can't shut that down, right? We'll stream a few things to YouTube, but if they shut us down on YouTube, we'll just stream to the website, and we'll get views, and we'll do it the good old fashioned way through SEO and internet hard work. That's really, and it's interesting that a lot of guys, what they don't understand until they lose their YouTube channel, I've lost a couple of YouTube channels myself, is that YouTube takes care of all of the grunt work, the dirty work, the SEO, the keywords, et cetera, et cetera. When you don't have a YouTube channel, you learn how to do it the good old-fashioned way. Fortunately for me, Devin works in internet marketing, and she gets paid to get people's websites found. Like, this is what she gets paid to do. So I'm fortunate that's what she does. Anthony clearly has the resources to be able to do that should the worst case scenario happens. Do you think they're going to start fucking with us? Because I think they on some level they probably will, right?
Well, I mean, like I said before, they didn't ban Roosh's books. I mean, the stuff and the material in his books are no worse than 50 Shades of Gray. They're no worse than, Come For Me Bigfoot, right? So,
Bigfoot porn.
Bigfoot porn, right? So if they're going to be able to publish that and they're not going to publish Roosh, it's because somebody in the system does not like Roosh. Right. How many of those guys know me? I don't know. I don't know how well known I am in the same circles that Roosh runs in. But I'm a little concerned because it's a flexing of the muscle. And the other thing is, a lot of people are trying to convince me right now that it's because of the midterm elections, and that a lot of the internet companies are trying to sort of prove what it is that they can do this go around. So when the 2020 elections come around, that they will say, okay, so this is how we can influence an election. And so this is sort of the dry run, I think, for the 2020 elections when it comes to platforming. So how do we get mixed up in that? Well, I mean, we are just sort of the test. We're the guinea pigs for them. We're the test subjects for them. So like a guy like Alex Jones, and there's some other guys too that have as well. And I can't remember their names, but there's some other people that have, because I don't run in the conservative talk, circles very much. I'm in the manosphere. But yeah, I think that what's going to happen is if the midterms go the way that I think that the left really wants them to go, then it might settle down and it might calm down a little bit. But God forbid that Democrat or the Republicans hold the House and hold the Senate, and we're right back to where we were, and they don't have any way to because they're really interested in impeaching President Trump right now. That's gonna, if they don't get their way, I mean, you think they act like spoiled children right now, just wait till after that. I honestly think, and this is me being political because I don't like to be political, but honestly, I think that you're going to see violence at the polls this time. Woo! I think you're going to see, I think you're going to see, if not violence, there will be like Antifa out there in force trying to keep you from the polls. Just very similar to like when they gave blacks the right to vote back in the day, how there used to be like, the brute squad that will go there and make sure you would either go vote for who they wanted you to, or you didn't vote at all, or they would like kill you. Right. So it's in that's one of the reasons why we have this rule that you cannot campaign or anything within 500 feet of a polling place. And that was actually a reason for that. But now it's like, you don't know, people don't understand American civics anymore. So I wouldn't be surprised if you get someone like Maxine Waters or whatever, like in the poll places and saying, fuck this, I'm going to, this desperate times call for desperate measures. And they're going to just go crazy. I agree. I mean, we're having people followed into restaurants and, not given a moment's peace or whatever for their expressing their political opinions. It's like, we have no respect for any side or any political opinions now beyond our own. So I think that's going to escalate quite a bit. And we're caught in the middle of this. The manosphere is caught in the middle of this. And so we can't not, I mean, what do they say? You might not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. Well, they're interested in the manosphere now. But I hope everything works out. As far as, my own, I mean, I'll be all right if they just decided to close, my ability to sell my books on Amazon, I'd probably be able to find some other outlet to do so. And I've got other irons in the fire as far as finances are concerned. So I'd be all right. But I ain't going to say it wouldn't hurt. It will hurt if that's the case. And I'll probably have to really, I'm 50 years old. I would have to find some new ways to sort of get my shit out there. Like you said, do it the old fashioned way and do it the homemade way. I wouldn't stop, obviously, but it would be a pain in my ass. And honestly, I don't see why they would, I mean, the stuff that I write about, like we were saying, saves lives. But, again, that means nothing to a purple hair feminist who just got out of, a 4-year college and has $100,000 in student debt from a women's studies degree, right? So it's like, I'm gonna win one for the resistance, and press the delete button. So I don't know. I hope it works out. But these are dangerous times, man. These are very dangerous times for like writers like me. And I was saying, I used to joke around that guys would have to read the Rational Mail in secret, by candlelight, and these clandestine, groups of men like reading the Bible in Maoist China, was back in the day. But that's not a joke anymore. That's one of the reasons I tell guys to pass on the actual book, and I encourage buying the print copy, because God only knows I mean, I please still buy the digital, but like, you know, have some people are hitting me up saying, I'm going to buy like a dozen different copies so I can give them out to friends. I'm like, well, thank you very much. And really it's not great marketing for me to say, hey, buy the print version, because that's what I make the least amount of royalties on. But that's the one I stress the most, because you can't delete it. You can't delete it.
They can't delete the print copy, right? They can't. There's no program. There's no Control X for the print copy. This is why I think the 21 convention and 21 studios is important, because I think we need to build as much momentum as humanly possible. I don't want to say that I'm a cynic, but I think at some point, and I do think the midterm elections is going to have a lot to do with what happens here going forward. If the Democrats take over the House and the Senate, I think they're going to leave us alone for the time being. If they pull a Newt Gingrich back in '94, then yeah, pearliest times will definitely come, I guess, to quote the Bible, and it's going to be very dangerous out there. Now, to be fair, Rouge intentionally puts the bullseye on himself. He puts out these hit pieces, like he put out the satirical piece a few years back about, hey, listen, if you are raped on private property, then that should be legalized. It was a thought experiment, but that's the flagpole that feminists, like, he gave feminists the flagpole to say, look, he wants to legalize rape. We knew that this guy was a walking rapist. And every time anybody mentions the name Rouge, they don't really talk about that. They'll talk about other things with regards to the things that he said, but that seems to be the watershed moment in terms of him taking the bullets. That is what they hang their hats on. The difference between us and Rouge is that we teach men how to be better men. Yeah, we'll throw some fire, we'll throw some fuel in the fire here every now and again. With regards to, I don't want to say trolley pieces, but hit pieces, but we don't really trade in that sphere. We don't need to. We've got a group of men who can get the message across. We can get views. We can get, we can sell books. We can do the 21 convention. We can accomplish all of these things without having to be inflammatory. And I think, and that's what gives me hope for 21 studios, myself, and every once in a while, I'll put out a hit piece. But listen, I've learned my lesson. I'll cross over into that section every once in a while. But by the same token, you and I and Anthony Johnson, we've all gotten to the point where we don't have to be like that. We don't have to say, all right, I'm gonna do some clickbait and I'm gonna get some views. We don't have to do that anymore.
Right. Well, as you were just saying about, I'm getting an echo. You're giving me an echo.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, there you go. I was just gonna say is that the Rouge painting a target on himself is, I think he knows what he was doing. I think he knew.
Right, of course he does.
Yeah, I think he knew that he was going to do that. I mean, he didn't pick Montreal for, he talked to like 30 guys in Montreal during his tour in 2015. He knew damn well what the response was going to be.
Right.
So he's like almost trolling them. And you know who else does that is also Jordan Peterson. When Jordan Peterson was talking about how, right after, I think it was the Alec Manassian, he's driving the truck through, downtown, Toronto, whatever, or like Nicolas Cage. He was saying, well, it's because we have shifted over from enforced monogamy, right? And he knew that by saying that, people were going to pick that up and run with it. Same thing with Rouge. There's no subtlety for these people. There's no like, you can't say, oh, this is a thought experiment. Jordan Peterson does the same thing. He thinks, well, we can talk about things and not have them actually mean what, like we're not endorsing what we're talking about. Right. He knows that, but he also knows that there's a certain element of the left that is going to take everything as a binary, literal extreme. And that's what they did with Rouge. I think Jordan Peterson takes a better approach to this, because he knew by throwing out the enforced monogamy term that's exactly what they were going to do. So what does that do? That buys him a whole nother show on Joe Rogan. He just goes on there to explain that, Joe wants to get, oh, well, come on my show and explain that. Great. Got another 2 hours of press time. And then same thing with Rouge. Rouge didn't go to Montreal because there's a bunch of guys that really wanted to see him. He went there because he knew it was a hot spot and he knew he would get more notoriety on that. So if you are going to play that game of saying that, they're going to go to that extreme, if you're going to pander to those extremists, then understand what you're going to get. Because if you're going to say, well, I think that rape should be legalized on private property because that would teach women not to do what they do or put themselves into situations where there is a possibility for them to be, sexually assaulted or raped or whatever. And just by him saying that, I mean, you got to know damn well that they're going to say, oh, Roosh is a rape apologist,
yes.
And that's what, and if you go and you Google his name right now, that's what you'll see. Roosh, rape equals rape apologist. And
Milo Yiannopoulos actually trades in this sector as well.
Exactly.
And I remember I think he set up some sort of dude, boom, you took the words. Mm-hmm. Milo Yiannopoulos, what he can do is he can announce, hey, I'm going to have a speech in XYZ city. Meet me there. He has no intention of meeting in that city. His intent is to generate clicks, to generate attention. There's not going to be a speech. He knows there's not going to be a speech. He knows that the feminists are going to shut it down. And that in and of itself is the goal. And
he knows, like, he can go, like right now, Milo could go online and schedule a talk at UC Berkeley. And he knows damn well he'll never get there and he'll never actually speak at UC Berkeley. But there will be riots and, dumpster fires and cop cars overturned just because he's showing up. And what that does is, and unfortunately, at the price of collateral damage, he's just basically increased his notoriety by doing so. And so now it's not about what he was going to say. It's about his free speech. And so that the left, and especially the extremist left, has become so predictable right now that you can turn it into a very profitable, like we were talking about the brand of me. That's what these guys are about. You got Cernovich, you got Roosh, you got Milo, there's others too. I know I got to point out some other names. I think it's pretty obvious, but they are what I call outrage brokers, and they're all about the brand of me. And so you don't even necessarily.
I'm going to say something, and you're going to give me attention, and they fall for it.
Roosh was all about neo-masculinity back in 2015. Where the fuck is that? Where is that? What happened to that? Nothing happened to that, because neo-masculinity was just the widget he was trying to sell so that he could go there and build up his own brand of me and his notoriety, right? Same thing with Milo. Milo's got a book, but the bigger story, nobody cares about what's in his book. They care about the story around the book. That it got banned, or that feminists said talked Simon and Schuster out of actually doing the publishing of it. That's a bigger story than what's in the book. Nobody cares. I read the book. There's nothing all that inflammatory about it. It's nothing that you wouldn't expect from Milo Yiannopoulos. But it's the fact that it got banned. That's the big deal. And he knew damn well that it was going to get banned, because that's what happens. That is the profit model. It's make a big enough noise, and it doesn't matter what you're making it about. It's that people will try to stop you from making that noise.
Brand of me. Doesn't matter what, it matters who. Yeah. And when platforms ban people, when Simon and Schuster says we're not going to publish Milo Yiannopoulos' book, what they're in essence doing is they are increasing the demand for his content, right? Mm-hmm. So if a company, it's interesting, if all of these platforms, the more these platforms ban red pill related content, all this does is it increases the value, because at some point there's going to be a platform out there that says, okay, everybody is saying no, we're going to be the ones that say yes, and we're going to make money hand over fist by accepting these guys. One such organization for now happens to be Patreon. A lot of guys like myself, I got to put my stuff behind a paywall because I got to watch out for YouTube. I got to watch out. I couldn't even I think I put 4 or 5 videos on Vimeo. 4 or 5 videos in, they banned my account because they don't do pickup or dating or relationships, basically red pill stuff. So what they're doing is they're creating a niche market for companies like Patreon to start making millions, if not billions of dollars, taking in the content orphans, as it were. I've actually got a really good comment here by Can Petey. He says the dark web of shadows is our future. Do you think that the future of the manosphere is on the dark web?
By hook or by crook, yes, that'll probably will be the case at some point, depending on what happens. I'm wondering if we would even be having this discussion had like Hillary Clinton become president. we would be the ones who would be outraged. We would be the ones who would be fighting against that. I remember when Trump and Hillary were going at it, and I can remember everyone thought that Hillary was going to be the winner, right? And so we're making all of these plans to, for a post-Hillary, America and what we're going to do, right? Well, now we don't have to worry about that. But the thing is that now we've got the quote unquote resistance that is, the levels of crazy is not even, I can't even describe, I could describe the levels of crazy and tomorrow they'll go past that. And so is it on the dark web? Yeah, I think probably it will be on the dark web, but then what happens? The dark web becomes a little bit more mainstream and then people start digging into that. So remember even the dark web is still dependent on platforms. It's still dependent on ISPs. It's still dependent on, one of the reasons why they want to have like net neutrality is because it puts more control in the hands of fewer people. So, there is that. So is it the future of the dark web? Yeah, I would say so. If things keep going the way that they are going right now, things could change. I hate to say that, one of the examples I was going to give in my speech was like, I don't know if you ever saw that Twilight Zone episode back in the day with the kid that could wish people away to the cornfield. And so everybody in the town had to like, okay, don't, they had to like do whatever the little 6-year-old said, right? Otherwise he would turn you into a two-headed gopher, or he would like wish you away to the cornfield, or at the end of the movie he would turn you into a jack in the box, but your actual head was the jack in the box. And so consequently everybody's afraid not to pander to that child. And I think that's where we are at kind of right now. Socially, and especially with it when it comes to feminists right now, particularly with Me Too, it's like we don't want to say anything to upset the 6-year-old Me Too child, and if we do, then we're going to get it wished away to the Me Too cornfield, because they're going to throw false allegations out. Think about this, man. I hate to think things like this, but and thank God I'm a little less, I'm a little more anonymous than most, but I don't know how I would handle it if I had, like, say, my ex PPD girlfriend, like, say, oh yeah, he tried to rape me back in 1994 or something like that. And, and I was never consensual, or he didn't ask me permission to kiss him. And all of the things that we have standardized right now under this social order, anything could be construed as rape or as sexual misconduct. And it's like, okay, guess what? Rollo Tomasi is facing sexual misconduct charges from 1993. Right. That's how far back we can go. And so we're pandering to that. So what's the answer? Is it to go underground, even go more underground? Because even the manosphere right now is not, it's not all that well known. It's getting a little bit more notoriety, but I think it's only getting notoriety because the wrong people are really kind of bringing it out. Like if I look at the Red Pill documentary by Cassie J, has nothing to do with the red pill, and that's kind of a blessing and a curse in the same sense, because it's like it leaves open
the alt-right and the MRAs, man.
Yeah, that's right. The other thing is that they constantly misconstrue the red pill with MRAs now, and so you get a guy like somebody like Alec Manassian, or you get somebody from, like, say, one of these school shooters, and they go, yeah, I'm red pill, and then what does the mainstream media do? They point it back at men's rights. So that, how many times I've been called an MRA? Oh, I'm not an MRA. I've never been an MRA. In fact, I've been a very vocal opponent of MRAs.
I remember when that dude asked you on the Q&A panel at the 21 convention, he says, listen, I want to help the manosphere and I want to start an MRA blog. And I remember I was right. I was looking right at you. The look of disgust that just came on your face. You said,
and that's because I think a lot of people don't understand that I hate to say it, but like categories mean something. Like they do. Like MGTOWs I would say are red pill. They are red pill, but I just don't agree with their final solutions. I just don't. They say, well, when enough guys go MGTOW, then things will change. No, they won't. No, they won't, because women won't change, and the society won't change unless there's some sort of like horrific, societal upheaval. The shit's not going to change. So what are you going to do? It's my suggestion that you work with what you've got, basically, instead of just like, I think it was 48 laws of power. Isolation is dangerous. And I don't want to
Okay.
ever be isolated from, particularly from the sexual marketplace, because I have to, well, first of all, I got to write about it, but I disagree with that. But I agree with that they got the prescription down. I just don't agree with the solution, you know? And then for MRAs, I don't agree with. I think that they've done some good stuff. Okay, I mean they have tried to get out. They've raised awareness. Let's say that they have definitely raised awareness of men's issues. Okay, as far as being effective in actually getting social change done, very minimal, and they've been around for a very long time. And they've done nothing basically, and they've made the mistake of thinking that, or believing in egalitarian equalism. They want to be more perfected feminists is what they want to be. They want to take the equality and the egalitarianism that feminists claim to want, but really aren't. And they take that and they believed that, and they've pretty much built up the entire movement around egalitarianism rather than complementarity, rather than, you know, understanding innate gender differences, rather than accepting the truths of evolutionary psychology, evolutionary biology, all that kind of stuff. They want to say, well, we've all evolved above that, so we should all be equal. No, I mean, if you go and you listen to anything that Jordan Peterson has written, or he's studied about egalitarian countries. I mean, you know, what's funny is he didn't actually come up with that. I can show you the Evo Psych study that he was talking about, where they were evaluating gender neutral countries like in Scandinavia and Denmark and Sweden and stuff like that. And Sweden's got its own mess to deal with, but yeah, the MRAs want to take that egalitarian side of things and they want to make that the standard or the normal. And the fact is that's not going to happen, because men and women are different. Men, you know, and then we can talk about all this shit about they simply don't want to accept evolutionary psychology. They don't want to accept evolutionary biology. They don't want to accept the fundamental differences between men and women. Or if they do, they think that those are so minor that we can all just rise above those and have this, you know, perfectly egalitarian society. And what that leads to is androgyny. So that's one of the reasons I don't agree with MRAs. And I think in some cases, they kind of have their heads in the sand with a lot of the truths that MGTOWs. That's one of the reasons MGTOWs kind of split off from MRAs, because they realized they were never going to accept that.
Next question, man. I've heard of this fissure between, because MRAs a lot of times identify themselves as MGTOWs. And I've always been of the mind, I always make it very clear that I'm talking about low-level MGTOWs. But
well, and then, yeah, you've got a lot of different degrees of MGTOW.
Right, exactly. And the degrees of you're 100% right. MGTOWs are as red pill as anybody else. They have all the knowledge, they understand what's going on, but the solution is for them to check out of the sexual marketplace. The problem with that is that actually check out of the sexual marketplace, do so because they have to, or they do so because they can't check back in. Right. So we got a bunch of MGTOWs out here that encourage men who wouldn't otherwise be viable in the sexual marketplace to check out of the sexual marketplace. And feminists are like, well, we weren't fucking y'all anyway, so good riddance. Like
they make their necessity a virtue, is what they do.
Yes.
And so, right. and a lot of them, I'm not gonna say all of them, because there are MGTOWs who have basically, I think one of the primary tenets of MGTOWs is that you make mental point of origin, right? That's one of the things that I've always espoused. And that's great. I know you've locked horns with Turd Flinging Monkey before, but I think the guy is fucking dead on about a lot of the stuff he talks about. I just disagree with the solution. And so you got those guys, and then you got like the pickup artists, and then you've got sort of the flip side of, if you want to say there's a flip side to the MGTOW coin, it's PUAs. And that's why MGTOWs hate PUAs, because they think that they're making money off of desperate, thirsty guys who want a solution to getting laid, because they are making women their mental point of origin, right? And so they think that PUAs are cashing in on that. Well, the PUAs that I know, the higher level PUAs, if there is such a thing, they know that. They know that that a woman should only ever be a complement to a man's life and never the focus of it. But they think that guys are selling, betas this, sweet sunshine about, oh, all you got to do is just treat her right and do all this. No, it's bullshit. I mean, I think PUA is vital to to the red pill theory. I look at pickup artistry and game. I look at that as the practice of the red pill theory, and one informs the other. So you don't get a complete understanding of red pill unless you practice it in game, because that's the experimentation. And then one informs the other. So game informs red pill informs game. And then it's basically the scientific method, right? I mean, you're going back and you go back into the lab and you figure things out, and you go out into the field and you test it and you come back and you adjust and whatever.
Yeah.
And so PUAs are very necessary. And I think it was Nick Krauser who said that 15 years of pickup artistry has delivered more data than 100 years of interpersonal social sciences, because they'll do the things that social sciences will consider unethical. And so we have, I think that also feeds into the manosphere and feeds into red pill. I see red pill as kind of going across all of these things. I see, I don't even see red pill as necessarily a separate group of guys, because I think that MGTOWs are red pill. I think maybe some MRAs are red pill. I think that some PUAs are red pill. Are they all like that? Do they all? No, but I think that red pill is sort of red pill is a praxeology. I keep saying this. It's like it's the manual to all of these things, and where you want to take that and the way you direct that is up to you. But I'm always about just straight up red pill. The other thing I think of is, like, I look at these guys like Hunter Drew, and the guys who are, kind of like the LTR/marriage red pill.
Yes.
Now MGTOWs will, chomp at the bit, because they say, well, you shouldn't even been in a marriage in the first place. It's like, I've been in a 22-year-long marriage, and I attribute the success of my relationship to being red pill aware and internalizing that. And I go, well, you just think it's safe, it's cheaper to keep her, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, fine. But what are you going to tell the guys who are awakened while married? Just get out of your marriage.
Yes, they need solutions too.
Is that what you're going to? Is that the solution to my situation? I have a great marriage. I don't want to get out of my marriage. I have a great time. I love my wife very much. She loves me. We have an understanding, and we have we know our roles, and we've been going at it very well. She understands. She's read my books, for crying out loud. What am I? So you're going to tell me that the solution is I should just divorce my wife and try to get away from it and live a MGTOW life to have any kind of legitimacy? Fuck that, man. So what are you going to tell those guys? I'm going to tell them, you know what? If you want to improve your life, if you want to get your wife to, the guys in dead bedrooms, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, the first thing you can do is you can recreate yourself and rebuild yourself and reconstitute your marriage in a different way, and do it with red pill awareness, institute dread, institute, marriage game, to the point where you're internalizing it. And you have to fundamentally change yourself before she's going to accept that as authentic.
Right. Can't be an act.
But yeah, and then so there's the red pill in that context, in the married LTR context. What do you tell those guys? Oh, just get out of the marriage. No. Okay, so you're basically telling them to go fuck themselves, because they're going to get taken for exactly the same shit that you've been talking about. So what are you? So you're making the best of a bad situation, I guess. I have a really good situation, so I'm making the best of a good situation, even better, right?
I think what MGTOWs know and understand that they're afraid to admit out loud. And Hunter, he put this so eloquently while he was on stage at the 21 convention. He says, yeah, listen, I'm married, I got a couple of kids. He says, but that's what I wanted to do. Are there risks? Yes, but I accept those risks. And if you accept those risks, again, you make a calculated risk. I think red pill awareness is absolutely essential. And I think what a lot of MGTOWs fail to realize is that they want relationships with women. And again, we all know that there are inherent risks to everything. Relationships with women are one of those things. But the reason why we risk this, and people like to liken long-term relationships and marriage to Russian roulette. No, it's not the same, because there's no benefit to playing Russian roulette. If you win at Russian roulette, you get to walk away with your life. That's status quo. But when you're in a relationship with a woman, and I said this on stage, women are weird, wonderful, fantastic, and fucked up all at the same time every day. And there are rejuvenating. Listen, man, can men live without women? Of course we can, but we don't want to. Listen, my life would be great without Devin, but my life is better with her. I'm not going to sit here and say that without Devin, my life wouldn't. No, I'm certainly not going to say that, because I am my own mental point of origin. But having her in my life elevates my life. Dude, she could go feral at any time. Listen, I'm here in Reno. For all I know, she's doing whatever with whoever, right? Yeah. But even if our relationship even if our relationship ended, I would still be okay. That doesn't mean that I don't still like being with her. And I think that MGTOWs find it as a weakness to admit, yeah, you know what? I do want a relationship with a woman. The disconnect is just like you said, it's the solution. Well, you know what? I'm going to completely check out because there are so many risks that come with women, and I don't want to accept those risks. I am going to just check out of the sexual marketplace. And I think that's where a lot of MGTOWs find themselves in a conflict with themselves. Well, I want a relationship with a woman, but I can't admit that I do.
Yeah, or they want kids, or they want to have some kind of, like, I mean, there's still that need. There's still that biological, that psychological need to have. I mean, they always say the juice isn't worth the squeeze, but you know what? You still want the juice. You still want that. You still want it. Maybe it's not worth the squeeze now, but you still want that juice.
Look,
and it's
gas
not.
Isn't worth
Even if you make yourself your mental point of origin, even if it's all about you, and you decide, you know what, I'm not going to base my self-estimate on what the opinions of a woman or a gynocentric, social order is going to think of me. Okay, fine, great, that's good for you. But you know what? Still, at the end of the day, you are a human being, and you evolve certain things and certain needs. Right. And so at the end of the day, you're still going to have to find some way to satisfy those things. If that's with a sex doll, okay, fine, great. That's with a sex doll. If you want to, have a good circle of friends, if you want to be fucking other women on the side, and you don't make them if you won't say, hey, if you follow red pill wisdom, which is, a woman should only ever be a complement to your life rather than the focus of it. Great, fine. Don't fucking shit on the other guy, the other MGTOWs who want to go out there and get laid too. They're just more adept or more capable of it than you are. Great. They still share the same ideas. But then I will tell you this. Okay. And I'll look at the camera right here, right in the eye. If for example, let's just say tomorrow I find myself in a nasty divorce, right? And everybody goes, well, see, I told you so. You know what? Rollo Tomasi will not say, oh, I didn't see it coming. Oh man, I wish I would have done that. Oh man, trust me, I won't be looking for sympathy. I understand what the risks are. I understand where I'm, what I'm in right now. I understand that the success of my marriage happens to be based on my understanding of red pill dynamics and intersexual dynamics. I've got a great daughter who's 20 years old, gorgeous girl, smart, straight A student. Wow. Okay. What do you want me to walk away from that? I'm not going to walk away from that. No. My life is better because that's what I've chosen to invest myself in. Now, can the state come and take all that away? Yes, I know that. They can.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, fortunately for you, you happen to live here in Reno, where Marilyn York is probably one of the world's greatest divorce attorneys for men. And by the way,
I know, I've seen her ads on her billboard.
Dude, her ads are solid fucking gold. Women hate it. I just got a text from Devin, who actually happens to be watching the show. She says, I'm at work. I'm working. # not feral, complete with a selfie. So no, Devin is at work. I got a question here from Sharpe Assist. It says, what does Rollo think of Christopher Ryan's work and his book, quote, Sex at Dawn, the Prehistoric Origins of Modern Sexuality? You familiar with those?
Yes, I am. I have been very critical of Christopher Ryan, and only because he was actually interviewed by Rich Cooper about a few years ago, I think. And so that was that's probably one of the few areas with Rich that I disagree with, because he seems to think that Ryan is all that. I don't think so, only because his understanding, and I should say by extension Jordan Peterson as well, their understanding of bonobo culture or society, social structures is a bit incomplete. There is a great book called The Naked Bonobo, where I forget the name of the author. It's Lynn something or other. But she basically tears down the idea that bonobos are these like free love, egalitarian, like we should all, like humans should be more like bonobos, right? We should all just fuck each other and have this free love, polygamous, egalitarian social structure, and we'd all be much better off for it. Well, the thing is bonobos, just like humans, are not only very violent, but they go to war with each other. And bonobos also are extremely hypergamous, and they think, it's interesting because female bonobos are almost a mirror image of the women that we see today. Like they basically, it's alpha fucks beta bucks. When the female bonobo is in estrus, she resists the sexual advances of beta males and goes and breeds with the one or two alpha males in the troop, right? And granted, those alpha males also form, social alliances. Okay, that side's correct. But as far as hypergamy is concerned, it's just like basically a confirmation of ovulatory shift. When that bonobo is in heat, when that female bonobo goes into estrus, she resists the advances of the beta bonobos, and she goes for the alphas, right? And then when she's out of that, she is happy to go back and allow betas to have sexual access to her when she is either pregnant or she is in her down cycle, very much like human beings, right? So it's almost like it proves the real sense of the real social structure and the real ovulatory shift dynamics of bonobos. It completely contradicts pretty much everything that Ryan bases most of his ideas on in there, because Ryan, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to really oversimplify this and butcher this, but his idea is that human society should be more egalitarian. Human societies, and women aren't necessarily all that hypergamous. There, we've evolved beyond that, or these bonobos are a little more advanced than chimps, or these bonobos are more advanced than like silverback gorillas. They're not. They're just as hypergamous as human beings are. And if anything, real bonobos, the research in the naked ape pretty much proves that they are much more like humans, alpha fucks beta bucks, just like we are. It's resource transfers. It's what can the beta male bring to help. And then also the beta males in the bonobo troops actually help raise the children of the alpha male, which is exactly what we see in human society as well. So if anything, it confirms red pill thought when it comes to that.
Now that bonobos commercial, does that have anything to do with this?
I don't know. I don't know. That's a style brand, though, isn't it? It's like a brand of clothing or something.
Yeah, that's why I'm sort of seeing. I'm kind of seeing a parallel there. They're trying to.
There's this popularized myth that bonobo males are like new males, like they're that kind of shit. Great. Now somebody's going to go and screen cap that. But they do that kind of new male grimace. You know what I'm talking about? And I think that there is this misconception. That's one of the reasons, like this book, the naked ape, or the naked bonobo, came out, was to sort of put that on ice and to say, look, all of this misconception about bonobos being free love hippies and they should be the template for human beings is bullshit, and it is bullshit. But then you see something like a company called Bonobos that is building their brand on that misconception. Don't worry, it doesn't matter if you're alpha or not. Just wear our clothes and you can be considered, somewhat desirable because you're a new male and you can wear our nice turtleneck sweater.
Well, Rollo, thanks for coming on, man.
Sure.
I know
we need to get together. We need to do something like in downtown Reno, or like do a live stream or something like that. We should go down to like the Believe sign and or like at the Reno Arch. We should go down there and just like do a quick
Believe statue right there at the bridge, right there at the Riverwalk.
Right on Chucky River, right there. That would be fun. I don't know what your schedule is while you're here, but like we got to hook up either like tomorrow or Sunday or something.
Yeah, we'll definitely do something, man. We're in the same, or we're in the same city. Different coasts, man. I've got some stuff to take care of. But again, Rollo, thanks for coming on. Again, You guys can check him out at therationalmale.com.
You know what? Before we go, let me just throw a couple of announcements out there. People keep asking where are the Red Man Group recordings from the 3 shows we did on Monday.
Yes.
Those are kind of special shows because those were kind of like experiments for us. So if you're looking for those, they have highest priority from the 21 convention video team, and they will be out very soon. But we're wanting to clean those up because they were an experiment with multiple cameras and trying to create a show that was kind of like the ESPN of the red pill kind of thing. You get enough guys together and you start talking about stuff and you go back and forth. We wanted to make it more like that kind of a feel, and I think we got that.
Yeah,
but we are. Yeah, and so we want to get something like that, and so like I said, we're experimenting, and we want it to be really polished. And then, of course, in the first show, we had the power outage, so we have to like splice those two together, and just figure it out. So those are coming. And then the other thing is people keep asking me about the audiobook for book 3 right now. The audiobook is, Sam and I just got it back, and we have some corrections. We have some like technical stuff that we have to do that Audible is sort of throwing at us. As far as the sound quality is concerned, like this, the room volume and everything has to be like absolutely perfect for these guys. So we did get it back, and it took them a full 14 days to get it back to us. It is a longer book, so it's going to take a little bit longer, but the good news is that it's back from Audible for the first round of corrections. So it should be coming out. I'm praying and hoping it's going to be by the end of this month, but it might be the first week of November, but it is in the works and it will be coming out soon. And what else do we have going on? Oh, and then Poland. Poland is coming up. We're doing Poland 21 convention in Poland is official. We're going to do that in July. If you are a fan of the 21 convention or the Red Man Group or any of us, and you live in Europe and you can get to Poland sometime in July, now is the time to start you reserving or setting aside your PTO or whatever you got to do to get there. I don't know who the speakers are going to be. I'm going to be one of them. I know that. There's going to be some of the guys from the American crew that are going to be there. I don't know who else we're going to get for the European crew. But that is something that is definitely in the offing right now. And then again, we're going to be doing another 21 convention 2019 in Orlando. And that'll be like right around this time next year. So those are the announcements.
Excellent, excellent. Rollo Tomasi, ladies and gentlemen, again, ladies and gentlemen, Jesus Christ. Rollo Tomasi, gentlemen. Again, you can find his work on therationalmail.com. Find him on Twitter at Rational Mail. Once again, Rollo, thanks for coming on, man, and we'll definitely hook up soon, man.
Yeah, we'll hook up this weekend. All right, man.
All right, guys. Later.